In the shadow of a legendary father, a new leader rises. Osman Gazi laid the foundation, but it was his son, Orhan Gazi, who would truly build the House of Osman. This is the story of the man who transformed a small Anatolian tribe into a formidable state, setting the stage for an empire that would last for 6 centuries. Welcome to the reign of Orhan Gazi, the architect of the Ottoman state. When Orhan ascended to the throne in 1326, the Ottomans were one of many small principalities, or beyliks, in Anatolia. His father, Osman, had spent a lifetime fighting for a foothold. Orhan inherited not just a territory, but a vision. His first major act would define his reign and change the course of Ottoman history forever. The capture of Bursa. The siege of Bursa wasn't a swift conquest. It was a long, grueling blockade that had begun under Osman. The city was a Byzantine stronghold, well fortified and strategically vital. Instead of a direct, bloody assault, Orhan employed a patient strategy. He built forts around the city, cutting off its supply lines one by one. This demonstrated a new level of military and administrative sophistication. Finally, after years of pressure, Bursa surrendered peacefully. This wasn't just a military victory. It was a statement. By making Bursa his new capital. Orhan signaled a shift from a nomadic tribal existence to a settled urban state. The city flourished under his rule, becoming a center for commerce, learning, and Islamic culture. Magnificent mosques, schools, and public baths were built, showcasing the Ottomans as patrons of civilization, not just conquerors. With a new capital and growing ambitions, Orhan knew that a state needed its own symbols of sovereignty and a stable economy. One of his most significant innovations was the minting of the first Ottoman coin, the ache. This silver coin, bearing Orhan's name, was a powerful declaration of independence and authority. It meant the Ottomans were no longer just a vassal or a minor player. They were a self-sufficient power with a functioning economy. This move standardized transactions, boosted trade, and allowed for the systematic collection of taxes, providing the financial backbone for further expansion and state building. But money alone doesn't win wars. A state needs a reliable army. Before Orhan, Ottoman forces were mostly tribal cavalry, loyal to their individual chieftains, who would gather for campaigns and disperse afterward. This was unpredictable and inefficient for long-term strategic goals. Orhan revolutionized the Ottoman military by creating the first standing army, the Yaya. These were salaried infantry soldiers paid directly by the state. This was a groundbreaking concept for the time. The Yaya were full-time professionals, trained, disciplined, and loyal to the Sultan alone. This gave Orhan a permanent, reliable force he could deploy at any time for sieges, garrisons, or field battles. The creation of the Yaya marked a crucial step in centralizing power and professionalizing the Ottoman military machine, paving the way for the later creation of the even more famous Janissaries with a strong capital, a stable economy, and a professional army. Orhan looked beyond Anatolia. The Byzantine Empire, once a mighty power, was now embroiled in civil war. John VI Cantacuzenios, a claimant to the Byzantine throne, desperately needed allies. He saw the rising power of the Ottomans and made Orhan an offer he couldn't refuse. An alliance sealed by marriage. Orhan married Theodora, the daughter of Cantacuzenios, in a lavish ceremony. This marriage was a masterstroke of diplomacy. It gave Orhan immense prestige and a legitimate reason to involve himself in Byzantine politics. More importantly, it gave him a foothold in Europe. As part of the alliance, Ottoman soldiers were invited to cross the Dardanelles straight into Thrace, the European part of the Byzantine Empire. They came first as mercenaries, fighting for Cantacuzenios, but they soon realized the potential of this new land. The Balkans were fragmented and weak, a ripe target for conquest. In 1354, a powerful earthquake devastated the Gallipoli Peninsula, destroying the walls of its fortress. Seizing this opportunity, Orhan's son, Suleiman Pasha, occupied the strategic fortress of Gallipoli. This was the moment the Ottomans now had their first permanent base in Europe. This wasn't a temporary raid. It was a permanent settlement. From this beachhead, the Ottoman expansion into the Balkans would begin, a process that would ultimately lead to the fall of Constantinople itself. Orhan's reign was one of constant transformation. He used every tool at his disposal: military conquest, strategic patience, economic innovation, and shrewd diplomacy. He understood that building a state was more than just winning battles. It required institutions, a functioning bureaucracy, and a clear vision. He established the first Ottoman vizier, a chief minister to handle the growing complexities of administration, allowing him to focus on grand strategy. He encouraged the settlement of Turkish tribes in newly conquered lands, solidifying Ottoman control and changing the demographic landscape of the region. When Orhan Gazi died in 1362, he left behind a legacy that was almost unrecognizable from what he had inherited. The small tribal beylik was gone. In its place stood a small but powerful state, with a sophisticated capital, a professional army, a stable currency, and a permanent foothold in Europe. He was the bridge between the nomadic warrior past and the imperial future. Osman may have lit the spark, but Orhan fanned it into a flame that would soon engulf the region. He was the quiet architect, the patient builder, whose 36-year reign laid the unshakable foundations of the Ottoman Empire. His work ensured that the House of Osman would not be a footnote in history, but one of its most enduring chapters. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into the past fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that shaped our world. See you next time.